Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, February 2nd, closing out the week here. Ready to rock and roll again. Electric show yesterday. The gang held it down, had the CEO of Jupe on the show. That was very, very cool for me to be able to listen to. So good stuff, everybody. Today, we are going to discuss Pixelmon's latest, $8 million fundraise and the upcoming token launch. We're going to discuss the next opportunities to watch for in the NFT space broadly. And we're going to be joined by the one and only Zeneca halfway through the show to talk all things NFT trading, Blast, and more. So very, very exciting show that we have today. I want to make sure everybody remembers the Rough Racing Hat raffle on the Nifty.com ends in an hour. So we made a custom link, the Nifty.com/PPP. You can go there if you have Bodagos, if you have Bones. Very, very easy to just buy some raffle tickets for Bones. And we're going to be basically drawing the winners today. So it'll be a lot of fun. This is the inaugural Bodagos merch drop. We will be learning a lot through this process. We are ready with more physical products in hand for the next drop and the drop after that and the drop after that. So wanted to start slow and build. Really, really fun stuff. This was an item that was requested by many people, so we thought that we'd lead with this one. Clemente, little Bodago of the day action, right?
Yep. We shout out to McChill.
You're on the wrong mic, buddy. You're on the wrong mic, but we're going to do Bodagos of the day in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Bodago of the day, the segment where we celebrate members of our community, people that own Bodagos, people that are great ambassadors for the Bodagos brand. Clemente, how we doing?
How's this? We back?
It's perfect. You're on the right mic.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Shout out to McChillin and Mr. Yellow. They're the Bodagos of today. They're running back a Bodagos community space today at 1 p.m. Eastern. You want to tune into it. Last one they did was very, very fun and exciting. I'll be there. It's pinned up at the top for anyone that wants to listen, set reminders, etc. And the next, I just want to give a Bodago shout out, Pio, because Mike was a Bodago of the day before, but yesterday, he painted his stunt doggo on a canvas and just looks freaking fantastic. So also pinned up top. Go check it out. Looks really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. People were really digging Michael's painting. I'm sure his DMs are going to be flooded with requests, but absolutely fantastic to see a fine art approach to the Bodagos NFT collection. Really, really cool stuff there. Shout out to Michael, former Bodago of the day. Now just getting a monster shout out. Look, we got Zeneca on the show today. I want to get right in the mix before he comes on so we can kind of get through everything. So I'm going to throw over to Signal for today, Friday, February 2nd's weather report. Sig, please take it away.
Yeah, absolutely, Pio. We're coming in on Friday, February 2nd. That ETH market volume is coming at 23 million. Solana market volume coming in almost at 8. If you look at the market leaders, well, the blue chips are stable. Some of the top movers include Pixelmon, up 30% to 1.73 ETH. Killer Bears, they're up over 50% to 1.24. And the Sproto Gremlins, they're also up as well. Bitcoin Puppets, they're up 25% and not stopping. Over the past 24 hours, what are the top 4 stories? Well, firstly, despite this previous stance against crypto, Andrew Tate tweeted that he was considering launching his own token and putting up $100 million of his own money behind it, opening it to his paid group at a discount, and then promoting it everywhere. It's going to be his life's mission. As of this morning, though, however, he deleted a tweet and claimed it was only a joke when CoffeeZilla tweeted about it. Second story of the day is Polygon Labs. They've announced that they've laid off, unfortunately, 60 employees, which is almost 20% of the company in restructuring. Part of this restructure would include giving a 15% raise to the employees that remain, noting that they want to create smaller, nimbler teams to continue to build the Polygon going forward. Thirdly, over in gaming, it's Pixelmon. Yep, they've announced an 8 million raise in the latest seed round and includes investment from Animoca Brands, Delphi Ventures, and Foresight Ventures. Pixelmon rallied on the news, up 30% to 1.7 ETH floor ahead of its upcoming Mon token launch. And lastly, Magic Eden's retroactive diamond rewards expected today, given to users who have long used the platform, and double rewards given to users with 100% loyalty. While the Diamonds campaign has brought Magic Eden's market share up to almost 30%, many are expecting another announcement to continue to hold that market share going forward. That is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual. Signal some wild news there with Pixelmon. Very, very interesting. $8 million raise. That's no joke. That's just 1 million shy of what Pudgy Penguins raised. And keep in mind, this is after Pixelmon had a $70 million primary sale of their NFT. Have to wonder how much of that 70 million went to the original NFT founders, basically for running a very short marketing campaign. Anyway, Nifty Daily Digest updates. The Daily Digest is posted to X platform every morning, and it's pinned up top on X. It's also emailed to anyone that subscribes at thenifty.com. So check it out there if you enjoy crypto newsletters. Crypto YouTuber Ben Armstrong, also known as BitBoy Crypto, has announced that he is retiring from his live streams, citing high costs from lawyer fees and high show production expenses, with the live streams costing $25,000 per week to produce. I was surprised to hear about how high those numbers are. This guy is an anomaly. He's an enigma in the crypto space. Very interesting stuff. He's literally competing in a martial arts bout with our friends over at Karate Combat. I mean, this guy's all over the place. Live streamed an arrest. Very, very interesting individual on the content side. We'll have to see what comes next. Next story, the cross-chain name service Clusters has gone live and has announced the completion of a $9 million seed round. More seed rounds for crypto companies. Absolutely love to see it. I think it's safe to say the tide has been turning. Clemente?
Real quick. Easy.
You're on the wrong mic again, amigo. How did you get back on the wrong mic? How is that even possible? I do not understand. Anyway, if you want to come back when the mic is corrected, or if you want to send a written.
All right, how's this?
There we go.
Okay, I think it disconnected or something. Easy. Is this Fubar's company or project?
Frame is Fubar's.
Got it.
Yeah, Frame is Fubar's.
Clemente, what is going on with your internet? Anyway, next story, Ron token is expected to be listed on Coinbase. This is expected news from the standpoint that it was just kind of weird that Ronin wasn't exchange listed basically anywhere, despite being like a quote quality asset, and another asset from the ecosystem, AXS, was exchange listed. So I think a lot of people that bought Ron were expecting this. So yeah, it looks like it was added to the Coinbase assets roadmap. Have to see if it'll end up on Binance too, and if the Binance mafia will get involved. But big day for Ronin. Shout out to Kix, who has a bunch of Ronin, and shout out to everybody in the Axie Infinity Sky Mavis ecosystem, Hantao, Jonah, Finn, all of our friends over there. Next story, Invisible Friends artist and founder Marcus Magnuson has announced that he is taking a leave of absence from X amidst recent controversy around the Invisible Friends team and launch. We'll just leave this one here, and you all can kind of take whatever you want from that. According to Cyrus, a top 2 Pudgy Penguin holder, his long $5 million worth of penguins on 2 to 3x leverage using Bendow right now. I mean, some people are just wild. So he's already a top 2 Pudgy Penguin holder, and he said that's not enough. I'm going to long the shit out of this NFT collection via Bendow because he must know something. Big ups to him for doing this, and hopefully the Pudgy Penguin floor goes up so all the holders can celebrate, myself included. 2 more stories. We got Doodles number 7489 actually sold for 50 Ethereum, with the owner spending an additional 31 Ethereum for other grails in the collection in the last 24 hours. So there's been a lot of interesting price action, a lot of interest in Doodles, but a lot of pressure from sellers in the Doodles collection, probably because they've been holding the collection for quite some time. We're kind of, fed up with it, looking for an exit. No one can deny that the Doodles collection artwork is stellar, and it'll be very interesting to see how the future plays out. I noticed that they're going to be dropping G-Shock watches with Casio. I'm a G-Shock guy. I got a couple of those, so that's super cool. Be very interesting to see what those look like. Last story. Love this one. Facebook, Meta stock is up 17% after the company reported a tripling of their profits in Q4. They announced a dividend, which is huge news for a big tech company like this, a dividend of 50 cents per share and a $50 billion stock buyback. So that's a tough one to beat. Keep in mind that just over a year ago, call it a year and a quarter ago, Meta sold off aggressively alongside the entire crypto market, realistically because of its association with crypto, just because of its name rebrand to Meta and the money that it lost on that Meta rebrand. But ultimately, it's not a crypto company at all. So it was strange that it, sold off like that, and it 5x'd in the past year. Now it seems like that might be closer to a 6x. So electric stuff there. Easy. What do you make of the action on Meta's price?
I was surprised because 2 days ago they were basically pricing in a missed earnings on Meta. What else had earnings there? There was another
Tesla.
Tesla. Well, didn't Tesla miss?
Tesla's missed 5 quarters in a row.
Yeah, Tesla missed, but they were pricing in Amazon, Meta, and somebody else to miss 2 days ago, and they beat. So that was crazy to see. Obviously, Meta just rallying really hard. I want to say maybe it's because of this VR stuff, AR stuff that's been heating up with Apple too, and Meta does have a decent runway on it. So I think that that's actually decent to see at the moment. I'm more interested to see where the market continues to shift here in the next 2 weeks, give or take. A lot of people that I follow on like TradFi and watch are trying to say like February is shaping up to be a red month in general. Yet we just got Solana back above 100. The Bitcoin's back above 43K. And ETH still trading like a stable coin at like 2,600. So not bad from the crypto side of things. TradFi markets right now, I've been keeping a close eye on because it was hawkish comments from the FOMC, which led to that initial sell-off where they were basically like, we're not going to cut rates in March. My speculation is we get the first cut in July, which will shape up for a cut right into election season too, which is where I really think we see the market rally extremely, extremely hard. And summer session cut would be, in my opinion, probably one of the most bullish things when there's less liquidity in the market, which would cause for way more volatile price action. And that's kind of what I'm watching. I think we end up chopping for the majority of the first half of the year, right into Bitcoin halving. I think we don't see like any God candles across anything really for the first 6 months of this year. And then it's going to be like a crab market, ups, downs, choppy, relatively volatile, no major price swings. But the back half of the year is going to shape up to just be absolute fireworks.
Interesting prediction. Bloomberg thinks that a rate cut might come in May. And what you're talking about, God candle stuff, we had Fred Krueger on the Bitcoin show earlier this week. Feels like weeks ago, but it was earlier this week. And he pointed out that Bitcoin literally only goes up in price 10 to 15 calendar days of the year. So those God candle predictions are not moon boy predictions. They're actually just based on previous activity from Bitcoin Signal. Anything to add on all things Meta stock being up 17%, tripling of their profits in Q4, dividend announcement, and a $50 billion stock buyback?
Not specifically on the price action, but what I am interested in is to now that Apple has the VR headset has finally come out. MK has done an amazing review on it. Like, you should definitely go check it out if you haven't.
You're a big fan of MK PhD.
No, I am a huge fan of MK. Like, if I ever want to know just like what is a product, how to use it, it's just come out. He's going to have access to it, and he is going to put out the best video on YouTube, and it just saves time. So that's why I'm a huge fan of him. And he makes solar panels interesting as well. But on that side, I think this year now is when you're really going to start to see a race between those two companies and who's going to dominate that. And I think last year, I would say December, when we were talking to Nick on the show, and he was saying, I'm not interested in the Apple goggles. I mean, they hadn't even come out yet. They've only just come out now. And I think that narrative, we're really going to start to see the race between Apple and Meta and who can take that share. And that will then bleed into the revenues for the rest of the year.
Very interesting stuff. We'll have to see. Apple has not innovated any new products besides, I guess you could say, AirPods since Steve Jobs' death. But I actually probably think that Steve Jobs just like drew AirPods on a piece of paper like before he died and was like, make this. But yeah, I mean, look, and on the MKBHD thing, I love product reviews just as much as the next guy. It's nice to have an unbiased review and know what to buy. So look, we got Zeneca coming on in 13 minutes. Very exciting. It's been a while since he's been on the show, so that's going going to be a lot of fun. Very few people are as familiar with the NFT market as Zeneca, and I'll also try to get a gauge of what his crypto trading kind of looks like if he's participating in that at all. But quick hitters before we have him on. This Pixelmon $8 million raise. Easy, you're close to this stuff because of the gaming angle of Pixelmon. What do you make of that announcement? I'm surprised to hear an $8 million raise, but that's like a big time legitimacy indicator for me.
Yeah, I was very surprised, to be honest. I even made a comment when Bunny brought it up this morning. I was like, what happened to like the 300 million they raised initially? Obviously,
70.
But yeah, hey, listen, we throw numbers out here at this point. The original team did get a big chunk of that, which was like not surprising. What was interesting to me on this was who was in this round. Like that was really interesting to me. Animoca, Ray Chan, Immutable, Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll being like one of the largest anime productions and like TV streaming services was crazy.
This is an electric
one of the best investor rounds I've seen. Like hard stop. Like
Alex Becker's in the round.
Banks is back. Zeneca's in it. Dingaling, Grail, Kong, like all of Spirit DAO. Shout out Elio, Mando, Loopify. Like every big gaming participant is in this, which is huge. And even seeing like Hassan Ahmed in this too from Coinbase was really interesting to me because it's like you have the Mon token coming. It's a gaming token. The strategic investor round is really interesting to me too from GuildFi, the Immutable side, both those two specifically being heavy gaming entities. And Elio just dropped a video yesterday or a tweet talking about his Immutable backs, saying like this is his bet. It was over $10 at one point because it's largely gaming, and that's the whole thesis. And the more you start to see some of these things coming to place and getting pieced together and what it's shaping up to look like, I'm very interested in this Mon token. It's like all the right people being involved. Like Ray Chan on there is really interesting to me. And obviously Animoca's shotgun approach. They just need one winner. Like they just need one winner. And this Pixelmon gameplay footage looks decent. And call me crazy, but you're seeing new spins on Pokemon type games, like capture monster games, get a ton of traction. Pal World is a game that I've even been enjoying myself, but it's basically taken the timeline by storm in traditional gaming because it's Pokemon with guns is literally how they describe this game. Like your Pokemons have weapons and are shooting each other and it's chaos. Like the game is so addicting. And just to see that, and then for Pokemon to even comment on it and now potentially have a lawsuit against Pal World. Now you have Pixelmon coming out, which is a straight rip of Pokemon for Minecraft. There's like all these things that are getting pieced together where it's like, this may actually fit a narrative right now that we're seeing in traditional gaming with huge names that are even outside of gaming and outside of just crypto that are showing signs of interest. And I'm like, this is shaping up to be a perfect storm for what could be a nice home run hit if this pans out well.
I mean, that all those factors are very, very interesting. There's one part, and I'm going to throw to Bunny in just a second. Though there's one part that I just like, I find so challenging to kind of process is that in all of these Web3 organizations, if you want to call them that, it's all there's a significant percentage that start borderline illegitimate. And for whatever reason, probably because there's so few people actually creating quality companies in the space, people just kind of throw their hands in the air and they're like, all right, it started off illegitimate, but screw it. Let's back them anyway. Because you go from what was effectively like build a scam with the primary sale of Pixelmon to the original team actually getting a significant percentage of the millions of dollars from that initial raise for basically no reason. I mean, making those NFTs is pretty trivial stuff. I mean, if you gave someone that's a qualified professional the kind of playbook on how to create the actual NFTs, it's just not that serious. And to go from that to having like an investor round with the literal, some of the biggest names in Web3 and crypto gaming, it's pretty fascinating. That was like an all-star lineup. That was Yatsu, Ray Chan, like that was cool stuff to see. So I guess, yeah, at this point, it's just like, all right, we're backing them. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Anyway, Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on, amigo?
So I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Like the team did deserve the money, right? Because it's an anomaly to raise that much money on an NFT sale.
So you're saying just because they pulled it off, take 30, 40 million bucks.
That's fucking capitalism. I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like seriously though, like that's how it works. It's like you sell something for that price, like that's now their money. Like I don't know what else people were looking for, but I was happy to see FaZe Banks up there, dude. He's had a couple L's in a row. He needs a dub in Web3. So
what are his L's?
his project.
Okay. Yeah. I don't pay attention.
Koalas.
Got it.
What was it called?
Which one? The oh god, what was that project called?
Oh, the art was really bad.
Yeah, there were those 3D avatars. Oh, this is gonna drive me insane.
All right, we'll figure out what a random project by FaZe Banks was at another time.
No, it was even recent. It was like 6 months ago, not even. Oh my god, this is gonna drive me crazy.
Well, doesn't he also have Thread Guy living with him or something like that? I mean, that seems like an L.
I don't. This Thread Guy.
We can disclose his housing location. I'm down. I'm totally about it. Sure.
Nick just loves that. Nick's laughing at himself. Anyway, moving on to Ronin being listed on Coinbase. I mean, this is to me, it was a foregone conclusion. It's not listed yet. It's on the Coinbase roadmap. But Easy, you stay very close to gaming tokens in general. Were you surprised to see this? What do you make of the Ronin, Sky Mavis, Axie Infinity ecosystem?
I'm pissed. What
do you mean you're pissed?
Yeah. Now there's way less friction to get Ron. Like way less friction. The friction is so bullish for the price action. And now that it's effortless to get it.
Well, it's not on Coinbase yet.
Yeah. Once it is, the friction's gone. And then everyone
but isn't it baked in now, Easy? Like the price action is pretty much baked in.
It could be. I mean, it's sitting at $3, which is a beautiful thing to see. Like me and Kix were buying this at like $1.40. Like, and Kix was even cheaper. Kix was in like the 80-cent range on this thing. It's $3.08 right now, up 10% on the 7-day. This thing is cooking. Like, yeah, dude, damn, yeah. Kix got in like sub $1. I'm in right around $1.40. But once you eliminate friction, that's usually where we see like the volatility slow down a lot, which kind of sucks. Like, I want the volatility on it. I want the chop. I want the chaos, to be honest, of that price action when it's you have to bridge and you have to go to Ronin's bridge. And people still hesitate to use Ronin's bridge because of Kim Jong-un getting involved previously and stealing all that money. So like there is still some hesitation on it. I do like that eBrink's bringing up the fact that it's less than $1 billion market cap, yet their daily active users outweigh every other gaming ecosystem by a massive, massive margin. I do work with Axie. I do work with Ronin, just to throw that out there as well for like pure transparency reasons.
Yeah.
But I've been bullish before. It was why I was so excited to work with them. And I had Ronin exposure before I started working with them. So for me, it's like, I'm very excited to see Coinbase acknowledge this. And it is now going to open up a lot of opportunity and make it way easier for people to get involved, especially if you can now transfer that right to a Ronin wallet and just streamline everything. Yeah, so I think it's a great sign to see. It's showing that people are opening up their eyes to the Ronin blockchain. And I think what they're doing by adding new games into their ecosystem and getting projects to move to Ronin is a huge win because you have Pixels, which is a game over there. Their ETH land is sitting at almost 2 ETH. And it's been steady at 2 ETH, which is a huge win. We just saw an Axie sell for 6 figures yesterday or 2 days ago, which is absurd amounts of capital. They continue to roll out and ship more than most other games I've seen. And the whole building in public thing is something like, dude, they had like 30 plus announcements from December to the end of January just about their games, which is great. Like you can't even keep up with it. So for me, it's like seeing a massive team like that continue to ship, innovate, and drive, and seeing now more acceptance from a wider base, such as Coinbase and these other ecosystems start to add the token. I'm excited for what the future of Ronin has. And I think looking at the token here, the risk reward is great. Obviously, there's still the AXS token. They're sunsetting the Sweet Love Potion token, which I think both are good moves on their part.
Yeah, that thing had to go.
I mean, the tokenomics were garbage on those, and that was everyone's like distaste. But you look at Ron, which kicked off January of 2022 with an all-time high of $3.56. We break above all-time high, and this thing's price discovery is going to be absolutely absurd. Like, run it back to people literally quitting their jobs to play Axie. Like, I'm about it. I'm down.
Well, and to give people context, if they are unfamiliar, the first sort of electric Web3 gaming experience that really got a lot of adoption was Axie Infinity by Sky Mavis. And there were 2 tokens associated with that, the SLP token, the Sweet Love Potion token, as Easy pointed out, but there were fundamental issues with the tokenomics of that token. It also was declared, I believe, legal tender in the country of the Philippines. So an interesting little trivia point there that a lot of people might not know. It seems that that token is being sunset at this point, which I do think is actually the right move.
Terrible ticker name too. Sweet Love Potion. Like, that's just a bad ticker name, dude. Like,
It's a video game ticker name. There was also the AXS token. And then finally, there was the RON token, the Ronin token, which is the native token of the chain, not only applying to Axie Infinity, but the broader kind of gaming ecosystem by Sky Mavis. And you were able to farm Ronin token in 2022 by, providing liquidity with Ethereum. And a lot of people speculated that that was going to be a very strong trade, a strong move to participate in. And what ended up happening is the bear market hit in 2022. So that wasn't great for the RON token's price. And, definitely did not reward people that were early liquidity providers for the token. And then beyond that, North Korea literally hacked the Ronin bridge to the tune of $600 million. Literally. It's not like, I'm not making that up. That's like what actually happened. So it was a pretty wild ride for the RON token. And that bear market kind of swept its legs out from underneath it, never really let it get any kind of steam. And you're basically seeing the kind of cream rise to the top now in the gaming sector. You're seeing a little bit of a flight to quality to the RON token, because I think those previous experiences, those previous issues are being overlooked at this point. So that's obviously great to
and
see.
some quick correction. It's smooth love, not sweet.
Smooth.
Love. Yeah,
Sweet love. Smooth. What do you want from me?
God awful name regardless, dude. Like, just throw an S word at the first and just call it a day. Like, no one wants that thing.
Well, we have Zeneca joining on audio right now. We just got to have him join the video feed, and then we're ready to start cooking with Zeneca. Very exciting stuff to have him on the show. Like I mentioned, it's been quite a while since we had him on. Clemente, we have you back. I hope the technical issues are resolved. Anything else that we missed? So we covered Pixelmon. We covered Ronin token. Zeneca is going to join us in just 60 seconds from now. Anything that we missed, Clemente, that we need to dive into?
Yeah. Thanks for throwing it to me.
We got Nick. We got Nick weighing in. Please, producer Nick, let's go.
Thanks for throwing to me. This is Clemente here, coming in. I've just been swapping around mics this morning. Don't worry about me. The thing I was going to say, we have the drawing for the hats this morning. I think it's in 30 minutes. I need to go check the website. But if you are a Bodago, if you have bones, you can go to the website. Grab some of those tickets. I think the odds are something like 25% of people, 25% of participants are going to get a hat. You just got to pay shipping. But we delayed it a couple of weeks just so PO could get the international shipping logistics set up. So we have like an entire fulfillment system set up here. I realize it's only for the hats to begin with, but yeah, if you're not participating, you can go to the nifty.com/PPP, which is the Pooch Prize Plaza. This is not a raffle, even though it says, even though it does say on the site, Rough Racing Raffle. Never mind that. Go to the Pooch Prize Plaza in order to participate. There is 28 minutes left for purchasing tickets. I see some people flying in right now. There's approximately 14,000 of these tickets sold. We're going to be rolling out more of these. Also, if you didn't get a chance to participate, if there's some bones issue, we've heard feedback. This is an experiment, so there's different ways of entering where we think there may be a better approach, so there's no friction next time. If you haven't had a chance to earn bones, don't worry about that. Just own a Bodago. That's the move. If you don't own a Bodago, I'm not going to give you financial advice here because it's not. I'm saying buy one just to hold it and collect it because it's dope. And then you can get some free merchandise as a result of it. So hop on over there, the nifty.com/PPP. That drawing will be in well, I think it's 28 minutes is when that drawing will be, and instantly you can have it shipped. And I don't know, Pio, are you committed to shipping it today if someone ends up ordering it?
Well, we'll definitely pack them up and put labels on them. I don't know if the UPS guy is going to literally be able to come today.
And you got to call the UPS guy, Pio, and make sure it happens so that I can say that on this show. Can you put yourself on hold and give him a call?
I'll definitely give him a call. Also, thank you for pointing out the international shipping thing. One quick detail before we bring Zeneca on. A lot of people might not actually process this, although once I say it, you'll probably like say, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense, is that the crypto audience is so natively international. And as we do this, we have an international gentleman, Zeneca, as the guest for this show. I don't think that a lot of other businesses in the United States, like, for example, Barstool Sports, right, which we kind of think of as a kind of modern entertainment company. When Barstool Sports was on the come up, I do not think that, you know, a significant portion of their merch sales were going to an international audience. I have to think that, you know, when I was in undergrad and Barstool was rising to prominence, most of the merch was going domestically. Whereas in the NFT space, in the crypto space, 40% of the audience is international. So it was very, 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 very important for us to fully have the international shipping situation completely fleshed out. And by the way, it's a pain in the ass. So we ended up having to find a third-party provider that allows us to have the taxes and duties calculated upon checkout, which is really, really important because nobody wants to buy, you know, some sort of merchandise item and then find out later that there were like taxes and duties that get billed after the fact that end up, you know, getting tacked onto the price. But anyway, without any further ado, we have a former...
real quick, Pio,
Yep.
I just want to clarify, we will not be shipping to North Korea. So if you're in North Korea, we will not be shipping there. There's a couple of other countries that we cannot fulfill to at the moment. I just wanted to let you know that. I think Russia may be banned at the moment, to be completely honest. So that's the situation for all the Russians that are listening. Banned. Can't participate.
A lot of issues between the United States and Russia right now, let me tell you. Anyway, we have a former professional poker player. I almost said football player. Former professional poker player, you know, one of the kind of most respected voices on the NFT side of the space, an art blocks whale, and definitely at this point, an NFT market OG, the one and only Zeneca. Welcome to the show, amigo.
Hello. Great to be here. Immediately, I'm feeling bad for all the Bodoggos holders in North Korea. That's that's what I got.
They are excluded. It is a big problem, Zeneca. Look, Zeneca, for people that don't know, you've been around the NFT block at this point literally for years. You sort of rose to prominence during the art blocks era, posting your analysis on Twitter via, if I recall, spreadsheets and really having some kind of nuanced market understanding really before anybody else did. We're now seeing a return to liquidity in the NFT market paired with a bunch of innovations in the NFT market that we talked about as theories, you know, that they would come to life years ago. But now we have lending, we have, you know, all this sort of different stuff. We have NFT projects with products in stores like Pudgy Penguins. What do you make of the kind of current state of affairs of the NFT market, broadly speaking? And then we'll kind of dive deep accordingly based on your response.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot more mature than it was in 2021. That's obvious. I think a lot of things people expected have happened in terms of like NFT FI, lending, borrowing, collateralization of NFTs, which is great. It opens up liquidity and gives people options. But I think probably the most significant thing that we're seeing right now is the multi-chainedness of it all. Like, you know, there was sort of two camps back in 2021. People that said ETH NFTs will be the only NFTs ever that really matter. Maybe some art on Tezos and some gaming on Solana. It was kind of like the vibe back in 2021. And now we have thriving ecosystems on Solana, Bitcoin ordinals, all sorts of L2s. It's a lot to keep up with, but it's also pretty exciting and cool to see.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredibly cool to see. You're someone that owns high value Ethereum assets. I'm assuming you still have like your Fidenzas and some of these high value art blocks.
One Fidenza. Yeah.
One Fidenza. Okay. What do you make of, you know, the interest in Solana? And could you see the sort of majority of NFT day trading activity migrate to Solana?
Yes, I could. I think it's clearly a better experience, like better user experience for most people. The gas fees, the quickness of it, it's just generally better than paying $20 to mint or $5 to transfer an NFT on ETH. So I think like the majority of NFT volume in terms of like trading volume or frequency of trades rather will probably happen, Solana and or other L2s or other L1s. I think Ethereum will always hold a place as the OG chain for, CryptoPunks, for instance, that they're always going to be valuable. I think, and they'll always be traded on Ethereum. But yeah, for like most people, especially people coming in this cycle, I think they're not going to really like presented with two options. One is go trade on ETH mainnet and pay $10 in gas just to approve your wallet to sell. Then you have to list and pay gas to sell, versus going straight to Solana or straight to Arbitrum or Base or whatever. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree. And so, being a professional poker player, man, and I know you that's not like your favorite thing to, talk about, but you do have to kind of be a savage to manage your bankroll and to have strategy. How are you approaching, call it crypto right now? Are you focused only on NFTs? Do you also mess with fungible tokens? What's what's taking up your time right now? ETH, Solana, NFTs on ETH, NFTs on Solana. How are you approaching it?
I would say less NFTs at the moment. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I still have tons and tons of NFTs and a lot of bags. I'm down bad on a lot of them. Some of them are doing all right. But I think that sort of there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in the fungible market. And no matter what way you look at it, the fungible market is significantly larger than the NFT market. Like it's just not even remotely close. And there's tons of opportunities there. So I'm sort of like exploring all the different chains like Sui, Say, all the Cosmos ecosystem, Solana, just kind of dabbling and, doing some airdrop farming, seeing, what's happening where, and just kind of getting abreast of everything. Because I think this next bull cycle, the one that we're in, I think, and really is going to gear up, is going to be is going to be advantageous to the people who have an understanding of all of these new things. I think just trying to be, I'm just an ETH maxi and just sticking to ETH NFTs and like staying in that little bubble is not going to do me any great service. So I'm trying to just like dabble in a lot of different things, but I'm not really all in on anything specifically yet.
Yeah, and I want to get to Blur and Blast. Was someone about to weigh in, or maybe I'm mistaken? And of course, Sig and Easy, if you have any questions, definitely just raise your hand via the private chat. But I was going to ask Zeneca. So you brought up Sui and Say, and these are new-ish or relatively new ecosystems here. What attracts you to those? I mean, we've seen Beanie, right? Another NFT OG tweeting about them nonstop, trying to get him on the show. He's flaky. He's a flaky guy. He's probably listening right now. But anyway, what do you like? What kind of do you make of Say? Is this a significant part of your bag? Like, how are you approaching this one?
It's not a significant part of my bag. It's a small part. I think really it's just sort of going where the attention is, and for whatever, like you can just kind of watch where the attention shifts in the space. Like the meta changes from one thing to another, as like we went through a whole gaming and token NFT meta. There's meme coin metas, and then there's like a Sui meta, a Say meta. Solana had a big moment. Solana is still going through, but it's just sort of, I just try and pay attention to where that attention is being directed. And it's undeniable that, there's a significant amount of that happening on Say, for instance, bunch of NFT launches, bunch of actual communities forming, there's DeFi stuff pumping there. So it's something to keep an eye on, but I think the majority of my bag will always be ETH, Solana, Bitcoin.
And I want to talk to you about Bitcoin, but Signal has a question. Signal, what's going on?
Yeah, hey Zeneca. So you've got a significant amount of art from Art Blocks days and years. And I was just wondering, what's your view on art over on Solana? Do you think it can also capture market attention in the same way that Ethereum did in 2021, and to have sort of like that kind of OG-ness, but over on Solana? Or do you think it's still it's going to have a different position in the market and it's going to be more focused on something else?
I think it definitely can. I'm not sure that it has yet, but the thing with art is that it depends. Like if top tier artists are releasing art on Solana, which they are now, the collectors will go and collect their work there, and then a community will form around it, and the culture will form around it. We really saw that happen with Tezos back in 2021. Tezos was seen as this really just an art bohemian blockchain where gas was effectively low, transactions were fast, and most of the activity on chain was around art. And because so many artists were releasing on there, a lot of collectors came there and then built relationships, and it just became known as this place for collecting art on chain on Tezos. I think the same thing we're starting to see it happen on Solana as well, and even on Bitcoin a little bit, where if an artist decides to release on Solana and they have fans of their work, they might go to Solana and start collecting, and then all of a sudden we have that culture building. It's going to take, I don't know if it'll ever sort of supersede Ethereum in terms of the high-end art market. I think Ethereum has that kind of locked down at the moment, or some sort of, there's a premium attached to it, whether it's rational or just, you know, people defending their bags or whatever. It is hard to say at this point, but certainly there already is a thriving art market on Solana. I think it's going to continue to grow over the course of this year.
It'll be very interesting. I also wonder if Bitcoin ordinals could dethrone Ethereum, and that's something to think about. And we'll get to Bitcoin. But first, Blast and Blur. So back in late November, you wrote a 4,400 word post about Blast and Blur. That's what I'm talking about. I love that stuff. How do you think about operating in that ecosystem? Are you staking Blur? This is the one area that I knew I wanted to get into, but I didn't have the liquidity. I prioritized other areas of the market and didn't have the liquidity. And then what I expected to play out, played out, and Blur just keeps going up in price. And there seems to be a lot of excitement there. It seems really great. And so I'm just wondering, how are you operating in that ecosystem? Any predictions that you can make? How do you think that this whole thing plays out?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of Blur staked and a bunch of ETH bridged over to Blast, which is accumulating points. And, you know, I did all of that back in, when was it, November, or whenever Blast, that announcement came out. I haven't really sort of actively done anything else since then. I think it's a lot of just like, it's just a waiting game. I might have bridged like a little bit more ETH since then, but I haven't really been doing too much actively. Although in the last sort of few weeks, we've started to see Blast announced some sort of a contest for developers, basically, where they're saying, hey, we have a huge allocation of Blast. I'm going to distribute it to people that release, protocols or dApps on the blockchain. And so there's literally hundreds of teams building. A lot of teams had existing products and they were like sort of shopping around for a chain. That's what, you know, projects will do often. And I think a lot of them settled on Blast. So I'm trying to pay attention to, you know, those ones and see like what's coming out, what's likely to be hot right off the bat. But really with Blast and Blur, but mostly Blast, is kind of a waiting game. Just wait till the chain is live, the tokens unlock, and see what happens. But I do expect it to be a significant event for the whole crypto ecosystem, but especially Ethereum.
I think so too. It looked like maybe Clemente wanted to say something. I know Easy has a question. One comment on Blur and Blast is Blur and Blast is kind of our industry's guy that, or on the NFT side, that's the young, like kind of maverick entrepreneur. Like previously in the big tech world, you had Zuckerberg, you had Jack Dorsey, you had all these people that were under 25 years old, really doing special things in entrepreneurship. And that used to be how it was. And I saw an interview with the CEO of OpenAI. What's the name? Sam. Yeah, him. And what's his last name?
Altman.
Sam Altman. There we go. Sam Altman. And he was pointing out that the average age of successful entrepreneurs in tech is actually going up. And that is an issue because all of the kind of maverick CEOs, Steve Jobs was super young when he started Apple. Like, Bill Gates was super young when he started Microsoft. So you want the kind of young people to drive innovation. And that's kind of our guy on that side. Obviously, Luke is really young too. All right, Nick, please.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say I'm 42, and like that means I'm probably going to be in a retirement home in like 5 years. And so that's like really problematic. So a lot of people, I've had investors messaging me nonstop saying, Nick, what's your who are you going to hand this off to? Should you run into a situation because you are nearing retirement age? The average age, that's such like a Silicon Valley thing to say. That the average age of successful CEOs has actually been higher amongst people in their 40s from what like the actual data shows. But in Silicon Valley, the average age of a founder is 16 years old. A lot of people are surprised to hear that, but that's actually how old they are. And that's both physically, mentally, and mostly based on their actual birth certificate as well.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction with the third one. I thought you were playing the law of threes that we learned about at that dinner with that actor the other night, Nick. I thought you were going to say sexually. But anyway, going to throw to Clemente.
Damn,
here.
I missed that opportunity. Regretting this.
Going to throw to Clemente with a Blast question, then to Easy.
Yeah, Zeneca. So we have the Blast withdrawals opening up February 24th, which is 3 weeks from now. Do you expect there to be a big liquidity injection into NFTs, maybe even on Blast, right? Because from what I think and from what I've been looking at, you're going to see a big incentive structure set to try to keep as much money in Blast as possible, especially given that I think it's like 10 days to withdraw from Blast back to Ethereum. But I'm curious how you feel like that liquidity injection is going to actually play out.
Yeah, I think a significant amount is going to stay on Blast because, like you said, they're going to incentivize that. And if you think about it, the people that have bridged, you would imagine they're bullish on Blast. And so they'll probably, a lot of them, including myself, will probably want to double down on that. I think some people will take it and maybe put it back into NFTs or something else, but I don't really see, I kind of hope I'm wrong, but I don't really see it happening. And then like NFTs just see a 50% pump across the board. Like, I don't think people say there's like $1 billion, close to 2 billion, maybe, TVL in Blast right now. But a lot of that money is from, giant whales who are like DeFi whales who wouldn't buy NFTs anyway. The amount of money that is bridged that is from like NFT buyers, I think, is not that significant. But yeah, so I think we'll see something pump, but I don't necessarily think it'll be like ETH NFTs.
I agree with you. I feel like NFTs pump like, in the prime of the cycle, and it's not even necessarily from the people that are bridging the Blast right now. Like people bridging the Blast right now are crypto people. It's not like some random ass retail person, right? It's a crypto person. Easy, what's going on?
Seneca, with like the Blast situation, the unlock coming in February, I'm really curious about your thoughts. Do you think that liquidity is going to cycle back into the ETH ecosystem, or do you feel many people will end up staying on Blast? I've taken a separate approach. I've only deposited, I think, like 0.5, maybe 0.6 ETH into Blast. And the majority of my trade on that has been into Blur and staking Blur, just because I feel like that is significantly less crowded based on TVLs and the point multiplier that you end up getting from the Blur staking, and one that you can unstake at any time. So like I look at that as the risk reward play, where initially on the sell-off, I ended up trading about half of it out and riding the rest for free. And I've now just let that sit. And I'm very curious to hear where you're looking at that and seeing kind of the separation on like what angle you're taking on staking Blur versus depositing to Blast.
Yeah, I think your rationale is really smart and logical. Like a lot, like if you just look at the amount of money that has bridged versus how much is being staked in Blur, I think you're absolutely right. In terms of so there's one big like X factor that always has to be spoken about when we're talking about Blur and Blast and what's going to happen. And we've seen Pac-Man and the team at Blur and Blast basically create crazy Ponzi games effectively to just incentivize people to keep staking Blur. Now, everyone thought Blur airdrop's coming, price is going to tank. Almost everyone thought. And then all of a sudden they came out with this brilliant structure that basically kept the floor price up and then it kept going up. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is something in that ilk that happens when all of this, when the liquidity is unlocked. Maybe they're like, hey, you can take it back now, or you can put it in this other Ponzi thing that, they're just going to keep trying to keep your money, which is effective and it works. And so we just have to wait and see, but that's kind of what I suspect happening. I think a lot of the money that's bridged already will probably stay within the Blast ecosystem. And actually, if I had to bet, I would say more money would end up coming over because, once a lot of people have been reluctant to send because hey, we can't withdraw it. We're just sending it to a multi-sig. We don't even know who the signers are. They don't even have an L2 yet. So there was a lot of like skepticism. People were like, I'm not just throwing my money into a void, but if they launch a chain that is running good and has native yield and is working well, and there's apps and there's NFTs launching and all this stuff, I think there's going to be even more money coming over. What that does to the Blur token price, I have no idea, but I think the Blast ecosystem will do well.
Have to think if the Blast ecosystem's doing well, it'll bleed into the Blur token. Have to think so. Yeah. So moving on to Solana, you're a Bodagos holder. So big shout out to Zeneca for that. But you've been tweeting more and more just about Solana as a whole. And like you pointed out, the user experience, in my opinion, is stronger. And on the DeFi side, I just feel like using, and this is a great graphic that you posted right here, just kind of showcasing that Solana doesn't break anymore. On the DeFi side, the user experience is really strong. What areas of Solana are you most interested in? And are there any other NFT projects besides Bodagos that you're super interested in? I mean, look, me and Nick own Mad Lads. We talk about Claynosaurs quite a bit. I know Tensorians is a very, very interesting project also. What are you kind of looking at in the Solana ecosystem, broadly speaking?
Yeah, I mean, I love all those projects. I have one Mad Lad, I have some Tensorians, I have a Claynosaur. the other one? The Solana Saga Phone NFT that came out. That was really cool. So I got one of those. I think, I mean, I love NFTs. I think DeFi is like a little more interesting to me at the moment, just as a whole where my interests are, but also on Solana. I think there's maybe like a dozen interesting NFT projects on Solana that I'm at least aware of, which is great and cool. And there's new ones dropping every day. And certainly there's some new art projects dropping every day. But kind of where I am spending a little more time and attention is on the DeFi side of things. And I think that's, we saw, was it Jupiter overtake Uniswap in total fees not that long ago. And obviously the airdrop this week has been absolutely massive. So I think that's probably where I'll be spending more of my time. But it's not just Solana. Like I'm really exploring all the chains at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, same here. And it's interesting that you point out that Jupiter, the significance of that. It does feel like in this space over and over again, nobody's safe. Like, no matter how successful you've been in the space, you are not safe because some young, hungry, more technology forward entity can come in and disrupt you. It's hard. It's almost like being a champ in MMA. Like, there is nothing guaranteed. A young, hungry, up and coming fighter can dethrone you and take your belt. Clemente, you had unmuted something to ask Zeneca.
Yeah, Zeneca, I'm curious how you're approaching the current market. Like right now, or 6 months ago, the problem was there was no action, right? And we look forward today, and something I've struggled with is how to stay focused and kind of understand what opportunities are worth both investing money into, but also time, because you only have so much. I'm curious, like how you're approaching Solana DeFi versus NFTs on Say, and like how you're allocating your time or deciding whether or not something is an opportunity worth pursuing.
Well, Clemente, he's used to staying up 24 hours a day from being at the poker table. So I think I know the answer, but go ahead, Zeneca.
That is true. But lately I've been prioritizing that sleep and that work-life balance. So I'm not as all in the space right now. But basically, so like my whole theory this cycle is last cycle it was spray and pray. It was like just go into absolutely everything, and everything hopefully pumps, and then you sell the tops, and that didn't happen on the selling the tops part. Most of us who spray and prayed ended up bag holding a lot of that on the way down. This time around, it is allocate capital into far fewer things, but the highest conviction plays. And so rather than taking 1%, say I have a bankroll and 1% of it and put in 100 different things, and that strategy would probably still work. But I've been through the mental turmoil of trying to manage that kind of a portfolio, and it's chaotic and it's stressful, and you end up fumbling the bag every single way. You miss claims and you miss selling the top and you miss all that kind of stuff. So in terms of capital, I'm just trying to find, 10 things that I have the highest conviction in, whether it's NFTs, whether it's a new DeFi protocol, whether it's a new blockchain and I want to stake a token, and just try and really do that. But in order to do that, I'm spraying and praying like my research. So I'm like trying to like learn about all these new things and just keeping like Farcaster this last week is absolutely going crazy. And so the base chain is going crazy because of that. And now there's meme coins and that's going crazy. And so it's just about trying to keep aware of everything, but like trying not to just FOMO ape into every random thing. And it's hard. Like this has been my rule for 6 months now. And I fail it all the time because I catch myself at the end of a day or at the end of a week. And I'm like, how the hell did I end up with these random NFTs and these stupid meme coin tokens? And then, so like I try and every now and then just like sell and just like really, I'm getting a lot better at selling and regularly selling and just even selling at a loss. It's just like, you have to consolidate and keep a more manageable portfolio, I think.
I totally agree. And you brought up Farcaster. That's the next thing Clemente had on the call sheet. So, if I think a significant percentage of our listeners probably are unaware, what has interested you in Farcaster?
So, I mean, Farcaster, for those who don't know, is a decentralized social media platform, effectively. It's protocol is probably a better word. It's the underlying protocol. You can think of Farcaster kind of like Ethereum, and then people can build apps on top of it, which are clients that interact with the underlying protocol. So the main app is called Warpcast, and it's basically a Twitter clone, but it's kind of better in a few different ways. One of the ways that it's better is it's inherently Web3 native. You can connect, an Ethereum wallet, and you can mint directly from the feed. You can do all sorts of cool things through the app. And the thing that really, I think that's really cool and interesting. And I think decentralized social is the future. And, we'll get there eventually with mainstream adoption. But one of the cool things about what's happened over the last week is that last Friday, they released this thing called Frames. And basically frames are a way for developers to basically insert little applications within your social media newsfeed. So you could be scrolling and then someone says, hey, I've got this, art mint that I'm giving away for free. Click a mint button, and like one click and it's minted to your wallet, and it works. And it's just like that. It's really, really, really cool. Or you could say, write up like an article and then one click subscribe to my newsletter. And because you've associated an email address with your account, then automatically you're subscribed. You don't have to. So it's great for creators. It's great for users. People are making games in there. There's memes, clickable memes. There's all sorts of fun stuff happening. And it's kind of like all my dev friends are just going crazy for it. And I've learned not to dismiss when that happens. Like, there's this great article by Packy McCormick that I recommend everyone reads. He this last week he wrote about Farcaster, and in it he talks about this quote where you want to pay attention to what the nerds are doing on the weekends. And basically, nerds at the moment are spending their time on Farcaster tinkering around with frames. And so I think this is going to be a massive, massive thing over the next 6 months. And not that many people are paying attention to it yet, but I think it's gonna. Yeah, there we go. That's the article. It's gonna keep on growing.
Very interesting. And so is there a token I'm assuming there's a token associated with this or no?
So yes and no. There's no official token. It's completely it's not a token. There's no token from the Farcaster or the Warpcast team, but there's sort of like an unofficial token called $DGen that someone launched. It was kind of like a fair distribution that they just gave out to people that were actively using the protocol. And then because of how decentralized and interoperable the protocol is, people started building like syncs into Warpcast that you could one of the things they have is you can create your own channel within Farcaster or within Warpcast, which is kind of like a community, think of it like a private subreddit. And in order to do that, you have to pay 2,500 warps, which is like their off-chain token thing that they use in Warpcast. So I went to do it. I was like, I'm going to create one for Zen Academy. Let's go click through. I went to the checkout and it said you can pay in ETH or you can pay in this DGen token. I was like, that's just really cool that you can just buy utility like that. So that's the main sort of token. If you want to speculate on it, that's the token. I am speculating on it. I bought a bunch, but there's no official token related to Farcaster yet.
Very interesting stuff. And this, I feel like, again, is in line with this kind of disruptive stuff that I was talking about. Because there's competitors, it's like Noster or whatever, but it seems like they have like less than 10,000 total users. Sounds like Farcaster is probably gaining a lot of steam on something like Noster. Want to ask you about Bitcoin. So you brought up that you have Bitcoin. You are, I kind of view you as someone that's like really, what's so funny, Nate?
Are you listening to the words that you're using right now? You're like, so I was using Noster on Farster, and then I was trying to figure out the Blaster, and so the whole situation has been getting. But I've been having a great time.
Welcome to the show, Nick.
The conversation there. I'm waiting on this raffle, which is about to. I think just ended, and the drawing will be in a minute or so. I'm gonna hop off for 1 second while I take a look at this, but be right back.
Absolutely love it. Looking good, Nick. So Zeneca, what is Bitcoin to you? Like, I know it's like a funny question, but I'd love to know, how do you think about Bitcoin and how do you approach it?
I mean, it's the top dog. It's the OG coin. It's where most people feel most safe in the crypto space. And for that reason, it is the most stable crypto token. I think it is the most likely to be around 50 years from now. I know some people will disagree with that and say a different chain, but most people would probably agree that it has that, it has the longevity. It's got so much going for it. And it has that mainstream appeal and adoption where, random person on the street, if you talk to them about crypto, they'll know Bitcoin. They won't necessarily know Ethereum. They won't necessarily know Solana. They won't necessarily know something else, but Bitcoin has that mainstream appeal and identity, especially now after the ETFs that went through this week. So to me, it's, along with stable coins, the safest place to store your crypto. That said, it also has, it's just not going to 50x. It's not going to 100x anytime soon. It's, because it's less risky, the upside is less in the short term compared to some other alternatives. It's, so to me, as much as I love Bitcoin and I hold Bitcoin, I think especially in like what I perceive to be bullish cycles and bullish times, I try to rotate out of Bitcoin and hold that in ETH or Solana or things that I think can 10x or 5x more likely this cycle.
Interesting. And I was going to ask if you thought that maybe this cycle, because TradFi is now kind of in the Bitcoin game via the spot Bitcoin ETFs, if for whatever reason you thought that this cycle would be different than the previous one, for example, where previous cycle Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin from the bottom to the top, Solana outperformed Bitcoin from the bottom to the top. But it sounds like maybe you still think this cycle will see altcoins outperform Bitcoin from the bottom to the top.
I think yes, in the shortish term. So like as things are going crazy, I think that will happen. But I kind of think this cycle will be shorter than previous cycles. I think it seems to be starting sooner. I think that the market is getting more efficient. I think so many people, like basically everyone I know in this space has the mindset that, oh, this time I'm going to take profits. I'm not screwing it up this time. I'm going to sell the top. I'm going to, exit my bags when they're going for crazy prices. And I think because of that, things are going to probably will hit a blow off top sooner than maybe other people might think. And when that happens, I think Bitcoin will, a lot of the value will consolidate to Bitcoin as all of these alts will bleed. Bitcoin, Solana, and ETH being the top three, quote unquote, safest in my mind. But Bitcoin will, I think at that point, that's when we see Bitcoin really start to run away.
Okay. And so when you say that, you mean towards the top of the cycle? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean like pull back?
As the market is coming down.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Well, sure. And last time Bitcoin went from 69K to 16K, first time that it actually dropped below the previous cycle all-time high, which is crazy. Do you see another drawdown, or do you think maybe because TradFi is involved this time, it's not going to be as extreme? And no Sam Bankman-Fried FTX bullshit explosion to the tune of $8 billion.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, like all of the big significant Black Swan events are behind us. I mean, we'll probably still have some big Black Swan events, but I don't think 2022 was an absolutely insane year. I don't think we're going to have something like that again, hopefully. And so, yeah, I don't think Bitcoin is going to crash in percentage terms as much as it did last time around. I think in part because of TradFi and ETFs, it will taper off and be a little less dramatic of a crash.
Fair. And one last Bitcoin question. Ordinals. Could ordinals, be the new home of the next Fidenza, if you get what I'm asking? Because I do feel like it being the forever chain is interesting. It's obviously much less developed from like a smart contract perspective than an Ethereum is. And it's not as beneficial for the creator because there's no royalty option as it stands right now. But obviously it is Bitcoin, and we're seeing primary sales be pretty lucrative for people that are dropping on Bitcoin. How do you think about fine art on Bitcoin? How do you think about ordinals in general, NFTs on Bitcoin? How are you thinking about it?
Yeah, for me, Sam Spratt actually had, not Sam Spratt, the Monument Game. Was that Sam Spratt?
That's Sam Spratt.
It's Sam Spratt, yeah. Had an excellent post on this where someone asked him, are you going to drop an ordinals collection? And he basically said, no disrespect to anyone that is dropping on ordinals, but for him, it would only be compelling if he found a way to use the blockchain in the artistic process. And I think that is really powerful and relevant and something to keep in mind. There's a great post, because if we look back at Fidenzas or CryptoPunks, they both use Ethereum in a way that is native to the blockchain. Fidenzas with on-chain generative art, and CryptoPunks, being the first project to use smart contracts in that way. That is a large part of why the value pulled there. And so on Bitcoin, I do think we will see something like, there's the meme, the next Fidenza, but like there will be breakout, standout collections. They might already have been minted, but there will be ones that use the chain in a novel and in a way that you do it on Bitcoin in a way that you could not do the same thing on Ethereum. You could not do the same thing on Solana. And I think those are the collections to watch.
And Jack Butcher is going to be dropping on ordinals, it seems. And I had a conversation with him on our Bitcoin Focus podcast, and he really emphasized that he wanted to use the inscription number structure of ordinals as his sort of canvas. So, and that kind of, I think, makes sense for Jack Butcher's art style. I don't like Sam Spratt might be thinking about a completely different, totally different art style, different approach. Signal, you said that you have a question for Zeneca, and then we can ask him about Zen Academy after.
Yeah. So Zeneca, So in 2021, the timeline on the art side was all like autoglyphs, punks, like, you know, all the top collections that we talk about. And everyone who made money wanted to have those assets. People wanted to have punks, people wanted to have autoglyphs, and it was very clear on the timeline. Do you think in 2024, the class that makes all this money from airdrop farming, from blast, from all the activity that we're doing, do you think they'll still want these OG assets and they'll rotate their money into these things like punks and autoglyphs and OG art blocks? Or do you think that money will go somewhere else, either to a different ecosystem or to, you know, fungible tokens? But do you think they will want these assets?
Yes, I think that. I mean, it depends. I think some people will definitely. I think there will always be demand for these assets. Basically, I think some people will make a bunch of money and be like, "I've always wanted a CryptoPunk. I really, really want a CryptoPunk. I'm going to get my CryptoPunk now because I made so much money this cycle." There'll be some people who are massive generative art fans, myself included. I've always wanted an autoglyph, but it's always been like financially irresponsible to spend that much money on one NFT. But if I have a tremendous cycle this time around, I would very much be looking to buy one of them. But there are also a lot of other people who maybe are just getting in right now or got in last year, and they don't have that affinity or that desire to hold these OG projects. They might make a bunch of money and say, "Hey, I've always wanted a Mad Lad," or "There's some new thing that comes out on a new ordinal project. And like, I want that," or "I just want to keep the money in stable coins," or whatever. So I think we're going to see all sorts, but I don't think we'll ever, especially with like, I think certain projects have basically solidified their place in crypto art history: Squiggles, Fidenzas, CryptoPunks, autoglyphs. There's many more. And at this point, I think they will always hold and over the long term appreciate in value because there is a strong enough collector base. And I think that there are new people finding out about crypto art and loving it. And so there will be new buyers as well, I think.
I agree with that too. What's going on with Zen Academy?
Yeah, so Zen Academy has had a wild ride over the last 12 months, I would say. Well, over the last 2 years. But so basically, we launched in November 2021. That's when we sold our NFTs, our tokens, our membership tokens. We had the Discord a few months prior to that. And over the course of most of 2022, and I'd say even most of 2023, well, I'd say most of 2023 was about trying to find revenue because, you know, midway through 2022, we all saw the writing on the wall, royalties are going away. And I was like, all right, we've got a bunch of people on the team. We need to find some sustainable revenue to survive as a business. And so that's when we started trying all these different things. We tried consulting, we tried different media outlets, newsletters and Twitter Spaces and YouTube and paid courses and all this kind of stuff. And I did the same thing that I was talking about doing in crypto, which is spray and pray and try all these things. And I realized that we spread ourselves very thin. And instead of doing one thing really well, we did a whole bunch of things very mediocrely. And so towards middle of 2023, I was like, well, this is not working. We need to try and figure out a new path forward, and ended up dropping a lot of initiatives and trying to make one or two of them work. And then towards the end of 23, maybe a few months ago, I just got super mega duper burned out. And I kind of had this realization where I said, there's always been this friction between NFT projects that are trying to run a company and also run a community. Because often what is best for the community is not best for the company, and what is best for the company is not necessarily best for the community. There's always this inherent friction. Like a company wants to drop more NFTs and charge them to the community, but the community is like, why are we paying and buying more of your NFTs and things like that? And I realized, you know what? I don't want to run a company. I don't particularly like it at this point. I don't think I'm particularly good at it. And I don't think I really need to be doing it. I don't need to make a big profitable business. I don't need the company to make tons and tons of money. I want to run a community. And so like towards the end of 2023, I really made that decision. I said, you know what, we're going to stop trying to be a profitable business and make lots of money. We are going to focus on the community, the NFT holders, the Discord. And it's really been a transformative phase over the last few months. And I feel like it's to everyone's benefit, where the community is a lot more active and energetic. I'm way more active in there. We're finding opportunities in the space together. We're learning together. We're winning together. We're exploring new chains together. And it's without this massive pressure. I'm a lot happier and less stressed out. And it's kind of, Zen Academy, I think, is better than it's ever been, which is kind of weird to say because we're doing quote unquote less than we ever have been, but it's, less is more sometimes.
Funny how it works that way. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow Zeneca, just at Zeneca, at Zeneca on Twitter, at Zen Academy, at Zenacademy, and the 333 Club. That's THE333 Club. Anywhere else people can find you, Zeneca?
Can you spell Czechoslovakia for us?
Those are the main places. Farcaster, I'm at Zen. I'm very happy with that handle that I got over
That's
there.
huge.
So, yeah.
At Zen, that's pretty damn good. If that thing takes off, that Zen is going to be a valuable handle.
Yeah.
Nice.
Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much for joining the show. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you give Zeneca a follow. Check out Zen Academy. Check out the 333 Club and follow Zen on Farcaster. Hopefully that thing gets legs. But always love having you on, man. Your analysis is very, very insightful. And yeah, really appreciate you joining the show.
Cheers. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Absolutely. See you, man. Nick, we got this raffle.
Yep. Of course, there was a bug. The drawing happened. The winners were selected. I'm seeing why they're for some reason it didn't give them the claimed NFT. Anyways, it's an evolution. This was an experiment. There was a little bit of a bug that happened in the process of the code that was revealed that I did last night and deployed. Thought I fixed it. Didn't fix it. So shout out to everybody. But the winners have been drawn. So if it says that you won, you did win. I'll have a reveal sent to everybody. Clemente found that comment funny. There's a comment on YouTube that said, "This is why tech guys need to be young." It's not about age, Clemente. It's not about age. Sometimes you swing and you miss, you know? But the distinction is I end up holding my head high no matter what, because it's just the absolute sheer level of confidence that has developed within me over the years, where you can't fade me. And look, everyone that said that they won, Pio's also given each person $1,000. Okay, so he just said that that's what's happening because of this bug. Pio is giving each of you $1,000. Hold him to it. And if it says that you didn't win, shoot Pio a DM and let him know that you won anyways. Okay. And he'll also send you $1,000 over Venmo. Blow up those DMs, everybody.
Well, there you go. Look, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. If you got the message that you won the hat raffle, you did win. And I'm sure that Nick will be able to work out the technical kinks and ultimately, end up locking something in there and letting people check out. We were going to do winner of the month, but we'll do that on Monday. How about that, Clemente? How's that sound? Or we have a guest on Monday too. We'll figure it out. I don't know if we're going to really do winner of the month because it'll be like February 6th or 7th by the time. Fine. Winner of the month. Let's just do it right now. Easy. What is your prediction? Is this NFT projects or just assets?
NFT, Ordinals, Solana, or Ethereum? And it's by percentage. At the end of the month, we pick whoever has the highest percentage.
Are we not allowed to pick Bodagos?
No, you can't pick Bodagos.
Everyone would want to pick Bodagos. So there you go. So easy. Top performing NFT project of the month.
Ooh, okay. Top performing.
Wait, did we say?
NFT.
I just want to clarify. Did he just say percentage?
Yeah,
Percentage gain.
I'll start.
Okay.
Bitcoin Puppets.
Wow.
I picked the winner of the month. They've rallied a little bit. I believe they're sitting at around 0.05. We've gone back and forth.
He's buying the top again.
We have a troubled history with the puppets. We've gone back and
Speak
forth.
for yourself. We're good friends. Some of us wanted to buy those at the lows, me and Nick. Some of us said that they were already overbought, which was Clemente and Bunny. I'm just saying.
But
We were buying at 0.035 is what we suggested.
Yeah. Since then, I've learned more about the community. They've DM'd me some very bad things, calling me names. But frankly, I've learned and grown through the process, and I like the Bitcoin Puppets. Did they flip my ninja? Yes. Am I a little bit good about it? Yes. But you win and you learn. You gotta be humble, and I'm going with the Bitcoin Puppets here for winner of the month.
Bunny, what's your winner of the month?
Bored Apes.
Oh my God.
No, dude, no, seriously. There's a play test. Just watch, man.
What about Mutant Apes? Like, why would you pick Bored Apes over
No, hold
Mutant
on.
Apes?
Legitimately, also, are you feeling tired of the Bored Ape holding pattern at this point in time? Do you feel like the strategy may need to change at some point? Just like in all legitimate.
What's that line? Like, if you're crazy
gonna
if you
be
just keep doing the same thing.
I'm gonna be insufferable when these things go back to $1 million.
All right, we got Bunny's vote, ladies and gentlemen. Signal.
I feel like this has just been jumped on us. I'm gonna go Pixelmon.
That's a good one. That's
Did,
a really
did
good
it
one.
just pump though? What's the
It's
floor
up
price?
30%.
It
1.7.
Yeah.
1.7 ETH is the floor.
Mhm.
Damn, that was an opportunity right there. I'm gonna go with this is a difficult one for me. I'm going to go. Pudgy has pulled down. What's the percent? Is difficult though, man. This is like the percent is tough.
It's a low floor game.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like,
I got my pick.
I was
All right,
thinking
easy,
about-
go.
Pixelmon trainers. That's what I was looking at. I like the smaller play of Pixelmon. They're 0.41. They are up right now. This, I think, was also my pick last month.
That's a
Shockingly
direct undercut of Sig's pick right there.
It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. It's a fair game out here. We'll split the winnings easy.
That's exactly, yeah.
If it's Pixelmon.
that works
Nick?
for me.
What's yours, Nick?
I mean, look, so I was looking at Pudgy, but that's like a percentage is difficult for me for this month. Like, dude, February.
I got mine.
What's yours, Pia?
This is hard. And I'm going to tell you what I first put into consideration. If you look at low floor price notable projects, one thing that stands out is Azuki. But obviously, it's challenging, like Azuki Elementals and Azuki Beans. It's challenging, though, for me to go with those because I don't like they just had that big announcement of the significant anime project. But that would you would think that would have caused a major pump. And it seems like that's kind of cooled off. I'm going to go with Doodles because there is not really like a secondary collection. I know there's like the boxes and all that, but I kind of feel like a lot of that stuff is going to get sunset. The Doodles floor price is only 2.11. We keep seeing big sweeps and big, we keep seeing rallies and we see huge individual sales and people valuing rares. And then we see the legacy Doodles holders basically refusing to let the floor price go up. We see people dumping 50 Doodles at a time left and right. To me, that can only happen for so long. At some point, all these Doodles people are going to be done selling. And if people still buy this thing and they're under new management, which I think is very good, look at what's happening with Pixelmon under new management. My pick is Doodles. It's tough to figure out whether that's a good pick for the next 27 days. This is a leap year, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. February 29th on the table. 27 days left in the month. It's very challenging to figure it out, but that's my pick because I got nothing else. Nick?
I think I just fixed the raffle bug. So that was the first thing I was going to say. So I think that's resolved. Apologies to anybody that was having issues there. Give it a go. See if it works. I was going to say, man, this is tough, man. I honestly actually have no freaking.
You have to pick something.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Lil Doodles.
Dude, come on.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Lil Pudgies.
Not a bad pick. Look, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I could see a 50% run on Pudgies this month, on little Pudgies this month for sure, to like 2.7 ETH. I totally could see that. My price target for Pudgies is minimum 3 ETH for the little Pudgies. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. If it's your first time listening, show's also available on X platform. It's available on Apple and Spotify podcasts. The video feed is on YouTube if you want to actually watch the show versus just listen to it. But yeah, we really hope that you enjoyed the show. We will be back on Monday. We have a special guest on Monday. We have Mert coming on this Monday, right, Clemente? So that's a good get. Going to be an electric conversation. Expect more and more kick-ass guests on the show. Shout out to everybody that won the Rough Racing hat raffle. There will be more similar drops to come. Yeah, big shout out to everybody that listened. Have a good rest of your Friday and a great weekend. We will catch you guys